Hi there, this is your friend Anna, and the question that I've been getting the most from all of my friends is, what are we wearing? This age-old question isn't just about choosing an outfit, it's about choosing how we present ourselves to the world. I created the I Want Her Shoes podcast to dive deep into what it means to dress with intention, whether you're heading to a council meeting or just having a casual day out with your family. Join the conversation as we explore the power of personal style and the decisions that shape our public personas. Put on your favorite pair of shoes and step into my closet. Welcome back to the I Want Her Shoes podcast, where we explore the women redefining success, identity, motherhood, leadership, and the connection in modern life. I'm your host, Anna Annison, and today's conversation is one I think so many women deeply need right now, because despite being more connected digitally than ever, so many women still feel isolated. Today, I'm joined by Marika, founder of Mysha, with a Y, a premier membership community designed for high-achieving mothers seeking trusted connection, curated support, and meaningful relationships during one of life's biggest identity shifts, which is motherhood. Mm-hmm. Marika has built something really incredibly special, not just a platform, but a true community rooted in trust, vulnerability, elevated experience, and intentional connection. And I just went to one of her events, and it was really amazing. It was an elevated experience, and a lot of connections were made, and I saw a lot of women I know there as well, which is amazing. Through Mysha, she's hosted hundreds of curated gatherings and built a network where ambitious women, founders, executives, creatives, and leaders can feel supported both personally and professionally. And this conversation is just not about community, but also identity, loneliness, reinvention, motherhood, ambition, and the emotional importance of feeling seen. Welcome, Marika. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm honored. This space is very inspiring.
Thank you. Well, before we dive into this amazing community you've built, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background. How did you end up in this wonderful city in Miami? And I met Marika at my son's school.
Yeah.
Our son's actually just graduated kindergarten, which is a big deal, I guess.
Did you cry?
A little bit. I cried at everything, though,
I was not prepared. I bawled. But yes, I'm grateful that we met through our sons. And my background is, like many current Miamians, I came here from New York. And prior to that, DC for school, but you and I share similar roots. I am Russian, born and raised. I came here when I was 7. And I got your message the other day about some of our similarities and how we grew up. But so much of, I think, what I do now is a reflection of the lack of safety and community that I had when I did immigrate. It's challenging, and being an outsider. So that is a big part of my past that informs very much the present. And more tangibly, I was in hospitality for most of my career. I worked at the Ritz-Carlton and then the Standard, which I guess unofficially kind of led the way for your naturally building community when you're in a hospitality space. And then started a community by accident called Her, which is very aligned actually with your vibe. And, I think a vibe of a lot of the people on this show, which was for professional women who wanted to connect on more depth beyond what we did.
Right.
And we made that a not-for-profit. It wound up going to 19 cities all over the world. And the ethos and how everything started there, it was 25-person dinners, ages 20s to 60s plus, but we all had to introduce ourselves with an ask. So spending, at least 5 minutes on every woman in the room, not on what she did, but what she needed, which formed really close connections. That. And then, naturally in my motherhood journey, which was, I was not prepared for, nor did I plan. I had my son. It was a beautiful surprise, very grateful, but also just, took me a hot second to, at 36, I think is when I got pregnant. And felt like I spent so long making this identity. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, who am I? I don't think I'm relevant anymore because I'm not traveling. I'm not able to provide value in the same way that I did before. So it was quite an adjustment for me.
Not just for you, but I think for a lot of us.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
And what has happened in your life that made you realize, well, actually, we just answered that because you said that you went through this and we were craving different kind of communities. So we'll just cut that piece. Let's talk about why do you think so many women feel disconnected during this part of motherhood? And I talked to so many and, actually just had another woman here who said, the postpartum part was really hard.
Yeah.
Even there's a lot of people online and we have so many people, like she said, there's just no resources or anything like that.
I think in general, we are just living in a time where we are living in boxes, literally, like houses, square apartments, and our roots are tribal. If you think about where we come from, women used to sit around fires and connect and
help each other feed their babies and 100%,
stuff like literally develop immunity through passing around each other, taking care of each other's babies. And at the core, nothing has changed. In our DNA, we still require connection, we still require depth, but because of how we are living very individual lives, and especially now that we have social media to compare all the beautiful moments, but not the actual moments where we're often in struggle, often feeling lonely or feeling like we're behind. And I think it's important to have spaces where we actually connect on that sort of stuff versus all of our achievements. And of course, there's space for both, but we haven't had as much space for the real stuff. And so I think the pendulum is swinging back where there's enough people feeling like this isn't working and they're seeking authenticity and connection.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And what you're building, because we don't have a lot of these communities, because I feel like there was more of them and there was there was less. And now I'm glad that there's more. Again,
I mean, it's like I open my Instagram now and I'm like, whoa, people got the memo,
Yeah, there's all these mother communities and all these things, which is great.
And I think sometimes I'm like, people say that they have a community, but that it's not necessarily a community, it's a group.
Yes, it's a group. Yeah. I mean, I have, I would say I have a group right now. Like I don't have a community yet because I haven't invested into that part. Because that's to have a true community, you really do have to have a platform for all the things community needs.
It's a time.
A WhatsApp, you can have a WhatsApp, but that's just a group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I totally get what you're saying. And let's talk a little bit about high trust spaces. Mm-hmm. What actually creates trust in a community today? Because I feel like there's a lot of communities or groups out there, right? I'm part of like 100 of them or something.
Totally. Okay, can I give you an example?
Of course, yeah.
So I went to a dinner last night that was hosted by Allison, who's the founder of an agency called Year Round, and they're the social media agency that we use. And I saw this dinner. I wasn't personally invited. It was just maybe something I caught on social, but like right away I signed up without needing to even read the nuances because I trust Allison. Mm-hmm. So I know she's a person of high integrity. I know that she's a person that will want to create value and that is considerate of who's in the room and what the experience is. And so I think that is the DNA and foundation for great communities, that you have people that are very clear on their purpose, like why, right? And that it's genuine. Like, when people are like, if I start a community, will it help lower my CAC? And I'm like, please don't start a community because that's really probably not the type of community that we need. But a lot of the best communities come from personal need where people have experienced some sort of hardship and they want to form a group around that experience or, be helpful. And I think that if you're very strongly aligned with your mission and you continue to monitor the group and facilitate the group in a way that always comes back to mission, you're going to build a high trust space. And also sometimes you have to be bad cop and create rules to make that community and that space valuable, because it is like your job as a community builder and host is to protect the bigger community. And, sometimes we're in spaces where it gets a little spammy or, out of integrity. And so I think protecting the space is also a great community builder will do that.
Yeah, no, and that's a great answer. And I think since this community is female only, it's probably a little bit easier. But if you're, dealing with communities where there's both sexes, you have to have a code of conduct, because if you don't have that, things could get really ugly.
For sure. And you have to
females
have too, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's true. I guess that's, I'm sure you have a code of conduct. Yeah. But with any of the communities that I've built or anything, we always have people check that off.
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah. Sometimes we just forget, and you like...
Well, because it's trust and, like sometimes you start communities with people that right?
Yeah.
So those people you probably don't ask to do that right in the beginning. But
yeah, eventually as it grows, you all have to kind of get on the same page and, say we agree.
Exactly. We agree to do all these things together to keep the group.
Yeah, and honor confidentiality and honor, that we're not going to spam each other and honor that we're not going to talk about this stuff to other people.
And sometimes people will get removed and that's okay.
Yeah. Totally.
That happens every day, I'm sure, in your community.
I mean, not every day, but yeah.
Well, yeah. And you've created incredible intentional experiences through Mysha. And as I said, I actually joined one it was like 2 weeks ago, I think, and that was a lot of fun. What does curation matter? Why does curation matter so much when building meaningful relationships and also communities?
Yeah. I think it just goes back to that idea of creating a valuable room, and what makes a valuable room. It's the people, right? So you can be in the most beautiful space with, the most elegant flowers and food, but if it's, the people in the room aren't necessarily your vibe, like there's nothing there that's going to elevate that experience. So, the people in the room make it. And tell me the nuance of the question again. I just want to make sure I don't go off track too much on it.
Why does curation matter so much?
Okay, yeah, because it's like the whole vibe comes from the people.
The people, and also the vendors and also the experiences. All of that has to come together.
Totally. Like it's again, like what is the intention, and everyone that's part of that creating that intention should be intentionally chosen and creates the grander picture and the feeling.
Right. Yeah. No, I guess a lot of people think it's just one, but it's a lot of those things.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not like exclusion. Sometimes when we say curation, it like sometimes feels like, hoity-toity, but no, like if you want to create value, put a group of people together that will have something in common and will benefit from those connections and from that conversation. And it's just pure value creation. So,
yeah. No, and that's what people want. That's why people join communities, because they want something valuable.
Yeah. And we're busy. So we want spaces that honor, especially mothers, right? Like if you're taking a night off, you want that night off to fill your cup, right? And so, to potentially squander out in a space that makes you feel like, oh gosh, like that wasn't a good conversation, or I didn't feel seen, like you don't have energy or time for that.
Yeah. Well, your events are not like that. Yours are filling. And many of your members of Mysha are founders, executives, and women leading demanding careers like yourself. What conversations are women having privately that the outside world doesn't always see? And I shared a little bit of that on actually the last episode of this podcast, just what I'm seeing in our group is just people are going through like a lot of reinvention and restructuring, finding themselves again, or those kind of almost like midlife crisis, but it's not called a crisis. It's called, I don't know, like
a reinvention.
Yes,
totally. I've listened to your podcast and the guests that you have on here, and we have so much in common that there is not a smooth journey for most anyone right now. It doesn't matter how successful you are or, the type of house that you have. Everyone is going through something, especially when you have young kids, right? And living in the world that we live right now where things are moving so fast.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are struggling. I see this in my community with trying to keep up, just with the knowledge that is like AI, right? Like being like, I have so much being thrown at me. I can barely do, my basic tasks, but, should I be learning Claude Cowork right now? Or like, and just like we're in a new time for how we raise our kids, because the technology and what we have at our fingertips just didn't exist when we were here. So we are writing a new playbook without anyone teaching it. And it's just kind of intuitive. And I think it's hard. And I think that it's just a little messy for everyone, but we don't have enough spaces to be in the mess.
Yes, exactly. Well, you could be in the mess at Mysha.
100%. I mean, and more, hopefully more
people. Do you guys have you done, I'm sure you've done a couple AI Have you done a couple AI things yet?
It's by far the most popular. Like right now we have in New York something happening at Soho House, and I just looked at this wait list, and I think there's 30 people on that wait list for
that's a good.
The number one most in demand. We want knowledge sharing and learning together on
Well, I mean, I think that's great that you're providing that, because there is a lot of benefits,
for sure. I mean, look,
especially for moms, right? The efficiency.
At the end of the day, the reason that we're in community is to grow together, right? And so even though it's a community that starts with motherhood, I would say like it's probably one of the last things that we necessarily talk about at this point, the kids being, and more so about our marriages and sex and the lack thereof, quite frankly, and how to get your libido back and how to balance your life and how to, career. Do I still want this big career, or do I want to do something different? A lot of these types of themes for high achieving women that are, used to being able, I guess, to feel like they're in control, and then you're like, I have absolutely no control. Right.
Well, no, I think those are all very important. And do you think high achieving women struggle more with loneliness than people realize?
For sure, because I think high achieving women tend to consciously or subconsciously wear a little bit of a mask because they're used to producing, they're used to being seen as successful, and I think we've defined up to this point success as having it all together, but I do think that's changing. And I think people that are comfortable in their vulnerability are giving a lot of people permission. And at least for me, I don't know if you feel this, like people that are afraid to admit weakness, or women especially that aren't vulnerable, like I can't have a fully connected relationship with them because there's like a wall, and I'm like, I want to connect with you, but like, if you're perfect, I don't know,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And I feel, for me, I've always kind of hid behind my success, and I had a lot of success before I hit 30, right? So, and to do that again, it's really hard, right? And just moving through that is, and I think you just kind of have to realize that there's other, the measure of success is different for everybody.
Totally.
So, like, you could have already succeeded, right? Like, so then you have to find a new measure of success for yourself.
100%. Right? Yeah, we're always evolving.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, is it maybe for me, success now is like being a good mom and, doing something more creatively fulfilling, right?
And taking care of yourself in a different way than you were able
getting
to
off screen, because I've been on screens. I mean, I had my first business at 17.
Yeah.
My eBay store. So.
Wild.
Yeah. So it's like, and now it's like when people are trying to go more on screen, I'm like trying to just get off it. I don't really care about this. I mean, I've been in AI for 12 years now. Like, it's not new for me, so.
You're evolving in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all, we're all evolving. Yeah. And I think that's okay. And and I'm glad that people are talking about it more, right? Because.
And for you, that could also mean being helpful to so many peers, like guiding them through what for you is mastery at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's what I'm doing with this podcast too, is just sharing these stories and experiences so other people could be motivated what they're going through, right? Because I feel like we're all moving through things, right? It's a trend, and I mean, I feel that's life. Yeah, it's a journey, right?
I feel like it got hard when we hit late 30s or 40s. I'm like, this is not fun. Like,
Well, yeah, and then it's supposed to get better and then harder again when, a lot of, some people in the community are talking about menopause already, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that's another community.
Yeah.
We'll be joining right later.
100%.
So, and that's life.
But like, for you, like, I feel like my 20s and 30s was like a party, literally. Like, it was just such a, like, in retrospect, thinking back, I was like, wow, that was a party. And now I've arrived to like responsibility and adulthood and
motherhood and everything.
Motherhood's
together.
Hard.
Yeah. Motherhood is much harder than work.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, at least for me.
For sure.
It's much easier to do any kind of work than
100%.
Being a mom and really, diving in, and
it's hard.
Like being present.
I think that's also a big theme that I see with high achieving women. The work is like rewards us, but the kids do not.
Well, yeah. So, and that's something you could probably, again, you could train yourself, right? Like what part, because I think that's not good.
Yeah.
'Cause
No, for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel the same way too, because yeah, like you get an email or something, or you close a deal or
Yeah.
whatever, but then, with the kids, it's much different.
Yeah.
They're just usually annoyed at you with you, or they need something,
Yeah,
and
but
like,
every day you have to just pour,
Yeah.
and really not necessarily with any sort of expectation of anything other than it's what they need, and we want to do it, but it's hard.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with you. And I think also let's go back and we're talking about cravings, and what are women actually craving right now that they're not getting from traditional networking or social media? Like you said, I mean, like it's the content, like they want this content.
Yeah,
but
no,
what else do we really want? Because I mean, I feel like, again, shopping is like also like an addiction kind of, and you're getting that, like
dopamine hit.
Yes, so there's a lot of little things you can do.
I think honestly, it's nothing new, but we're craving connection and safety. You want to be in a room that you're just can be yourself.
Emotional safety, yeah, especially emotional safety, because I feel like a lot of people don't get that in our marriages, or like
Totally.
It's hard to get. Your kids don't have it yet.
Yeah,
and if you don't have it, then you can't be emotionally safe for your kids. So you have to be.
Yeah. No, it just, everyone wants to feel seen and safe. And what women crave and have always craved is the feeling of being connected and being purposeful, right? And whatever they are creating or doing in the world, but also just making sure that they don't feel alone. So, like I call it like couch friends. Like we all want couch friends.
I don't like watching movies by myself.
Right.
So you know what I mean?
Or someone to text you and say, hey, what can I get you at Costco? It's not these fancy friendships, but it's more of just like, okay, I can exhale.
Like somebody's there for you. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of what you crave in your 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with kids.
100%. It's safety. Like at the end of the day, you're like, I'm safe.
Yeah. And this podcast always explores style as part of the identity. And how has your relationship with fashion and personal style evolved through motherhood and entrepreneurship?
Well, I feel like
since the time you were in hospitality.
Yeah, it like definitely died for sure. I had my first son during COVID. And so that was an era of the same 3 sweatpants and, tank top. And I remember like throwing all of that out once the postpartum period sort of closed for me.
I threw all those things out.
Happily. And actually, to be honest, I feel like I'm actually just stepping back into redefining my style. And it's an area not the style part, but like, I feel like shopping has gotten harder for me in that I have a little bit less time and patience, but I still have a strong desire to look good and feel good. And so I think like my next investment in myself will definitely be to work with a stylist. I see so much more value in that now than I ever did before, because like my creative juice is going to other areas, whereas before I think I had a little bit more mojo for it. But right now I still like it's important it's not even for the look of it, but for you to feel good, And so, I used to, I think it was more superficial, and now I really see it as just like us, like brand, like clothing our vessel and creating the energy of how we want to be showing up in the world through our clothing. So for me, I'm starting my journey back into that right now.
That's fun. I love it.
And also like, I think with a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, it's now I feel a little bit more like, okay,
it's getting a little easier.
Yeah. I'm out of the insanity of the true postpartum insanity. And so there's some more energy on playing around a little bit, but I have to say, if I'm in a closet like this one, the creative juices do start, like if you have, things to pick from, it's like,
it's easier style things. Yes. That's why I keep it all color coordinated. So I could just quickly, and I like just, using, what is it called? Monochromatic, when you just wear one color. I do that a lot. That makes my life a lot easier.
Yeah, but having this is it's flow state in here.
Thank you. And do you think community is becoming the new luxury? Especially with AI, because I feel like, again, it's yes and no, and I come from the tech side. I feel like people, now that we have AI, people are much less likely to pay for events or like high ticketed events. And they're not again, we're seeing that they're not as likely to go because there's not as many budgets now because everything is going to AI, like literally.
Okay, wait.
All
So
the
do you
budgets.
mean like for brands?
Well, just for anybody, like like being part of exclusive communities. Because I feel like we see like so many of them now. Like, right? Like, I feel like, is that the new luxury, right? Versus other things.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like, I feel like everyone has their own community now. So I don't know whether it's a luxury or an oversaturation, but like, yes, like I think marketing has gotten the memo. Community is cool. So I think now the client has to be a lot more discerning with like, do I feel like I'm actually in a community? And you can very clearly tell if you're in a community versus some sort of space. And is this providing value for me, like life value? It could be emotional value. It could be professional value. It could be, like just value from your cerebral value, you're growing. So I think, there's more now. And brands, like from a brand perspective, I hope are catching on because
because I feel like it's more about communities versus influencers now.
Still,
you know what I mean?
The brands that are behind still think it's
influencers. Because a community, you have
I'll give you one example. I was talking to this one brand, I will not mention them, and they were like, well, how do you work, whatever? And I was like, well, like right now you're coming to Miami. You've rented this, because they told me like what they're doing. You've rented this very expensive space and you are working with this influencer who you're paying like quite a lot of money to invite her influencer friends / like just people that she knows through her social network. So you're probably spending, and then you're flying down here to Miami. You're paying at least $10,000 for this experience, but
why not work with a community?
Exactly.
Yeah,
like if you partner with a community who's got this built in, they have the people, there's actual connection there versus people sort of
like random people
coming in. Yeah. And they have the relationships with these private clubs, with these venues, and you're going to save your team a lot of time, but also create a much more fulfilling experience for the brand because people will get a chance to feel your brand in a setting where it's something that's facilitated, because a lot of community events are facilitated.
Exactly. Versus just a dinner or whatever.
Exactly. And like, like now, like sometimes I showed up to a dinner that a bank was having and I was grateful to be there. Didn't really know what the purpose was, but I trusted the invitation. And I felt like it was such a missed opportunity. We had 25 women at the table. I still don't know who they were because they
didn't talk to any of them. Right?
They're just the person to your left and your right and like right in front of me. But like they were clearly handpicked to be there. We were at an amazing restaurant, and the entire time I was like, is someone going to do something? Yeah. So stuff like that.
Missed opportunities.
Yeah.
And you bootstrapped Mysha while building something incredibly high touch. What has that taught you about entrepreneurship and sustainability and just in general? Because it's very hard to do this.
Ooh, entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey. I'm still on it because the different layers sort of uncover as you climb further along. But I think for me at the initial onset, I learned a lot about honoring the gifts that I have, whereas before I just was like, this is what everyone does and why would anyone want to pay me for this? Like this is just so obvious. And I did Mysha for free for years, like at least 2 years, and really struggled because financially we were not doing great and I wasn't getting paid, but I was putting so much energy and knowing that this was what I should be doing. Like I knew like this is what I want to do, but how can you do something if you're never getting paid? Right?
Yeah, like for this podcast.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like how there is a time where you all of a sudden you're
angry.
Like, yes.
And you're like, what the fuck? Because you put so much of your own soul into it. And you feel like maybe you should do something else because But
usually something happens, right? Yes. Like when you feel that like I'm done, like keep going.
And for women listening who feel isolated and disconnected and they want to find a community, like how do you find a community that's right for you?
Yeah. Okay, first of all, you don't need to pay for any communities. You can very much be your own community builder, and I encourage anyone listening to do that for themselves. A great first place to start. This is very obvious, but get off your phone. When you're at that line getting a coffee, like look around, look who's, is someone wearing a cool jumpsuit next to you, compliment them. Are you at the playground and maybe seeing another mom there, start a conversation. I think the more
schools,
like everyone is looking for connection, like truly, like it is.
Well, I mean bars or whatever,
sure,
happy hours.
Yeah, like
we're in Miami,
Yes, people are looking to connect, and I think you'll surprise yourself if you're more open to it. But then the next step is, it's like you meet great people, and often things don't gel or come together because no one takes initiative.
Yeah. And sometimes even if somebody does, you keep on rescheduling it and all of that. So don't give up.
Right. And maybe go, find your next person. But I also really recommend merging worlds a lot. Sometimes, you'll often hear like, let's go grab a coffee, which is great. And be like, hey, okay, I just met this other person at the playground. Can I invite her? And do you want to invite someone else? And then there's 4 of you. And actually there's more likeliness that coffee date will happen when there's more people. And I suggest putting out a prompt, especially if you're getting to know each other, because at the beginning you could kind of just like have this chit chat and not really, women are great. Like we'll get to it eventually, but sometimes a little bit forced connection like really intensifies the relationship, where in a shorter amount of time you get close. So I'm always a big fan of like a girls' brunch, but where you prompt. And I love the ask where, you never know. Sometimes your best friends are the ones that you know least about in terms of even professionally. Like, your best friends are probably like, oh, that's like, our bestie, and forgetting the fact that you are such a badass and that you've, because they're heart connected to you. But
that's true. Yeah, we forget about that stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when the house was not under construction, I would host a lot of dinners.
Yeah.
And then that's how I would bring people together. I would just invite people that I would meet throughout the month.
That's the best.
And bring them together with my friends.
It's rare that people do that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to have your beautiful kitchen finished.
Yes, so then I could do that again.
Because it's a gift. When you bring people together, it's a huge gift because it's like giving, like it's kind of like chaperoning this connection, and I think it's one of the biggest mitzvahs anyone can do.
Well, thank you. I mean, I love doing it. It's fulfilling,
Yeah.
I feel like that's my community building. Really.
Yeah, it's powerful. You're known for it.
Well, thank you. Now let's jump into these shoes.
Yes. Okay.
Marika brought 2.
Yes.
And which ones would you like? Let's start with New York, because that's like the beginning of your journey.
These are my professional shoes.
Yeah, so these are professional. So tell us the story of these. This is just like a very classic Stuart Weitzman, like very little kitten heel pump.
So I started my career at the Ritz-Carlton, okay?
So these look like the Ritz.
Exactly.
They belong at the Ritz-Carlton.
Exactly, because I probably did not belong at the Ritz-Carlton. I was the one that was getting sent home, even though I was closing, $1 million catering deals. But they were like, you have a ruffle on your shirt. Like, you have to go home and change. Literally.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So it was like
very
that.
strict.
Yeah, okay.
But these shoes were allowed. And like,
they look comfortable.
This you would get sent home for. This is allowed. And so I think it just speaks to like, I was definitely trying to be put in a box, but was like, it was not working for me. And I kept getting sent home. And then this was like the next.
So tell us about these. These are Acne Studios.
Yeah.
They're like actual, like, they look like they're made out of like cowhide or something.
So
is this horse hide or cow? I don't know.
Great question. I have no idea.
It's a hide of some sort.
This was the literal transition from, we're Central Park South at the Ritz-Carlton to getting a job at the Standard Highline, opening that iconic property.
That's like literally what.
And we had the Acne store right there.
I love that.
So these heels, I mean, I'm shocked that they're still alive. Like
but they're still
through,
like very timeless. Like
and they clunk through the cobblestones of the meatpacking district.
Oh my god, yes. And they get stuck in those stones.
Yeah, and I lived at the Standard, and that was the era where, I was definitely in my heels. I remember my boss, Dutch man, very elegant, always in a great etro suit, and he was like, ladies, you got to wear your heels. And so we're like, all right, like,
yes, sir.
I mean, it was like the least sexist thing. He was a beautiful gay man, but he was like, heels will give you confidence to close those deals. And so we always, like, our team was always buttoned up in heels.
And hot heels.
Yeah, honestly, yes.
Well, I love those stories. Thank you so much for sharing them. And now let's do this or that. Marika's edition. All right, group dinner or intimate coffee chat?
Group dinner.
Text thread or voice note?
Voice note.
Yes, oh my God, me too. Quiet luxury or bold statement piece?
Quiet luxury.
Yes, I feel like you're totally quiet luxury. Morning routine or evening reset?
Evening reset.
I like a morning routine.
I try. It's where I struggle.
Hosting at home or beautiful hotel lobby?
I think hosting at home for me.
Same. Blazer and denim or elevated matching set?
Hard.
I feel like I see you blazer
and denim.
Like,
yeah.
yes. Wellness retreat or girls trip?
Wellness retreat.
Love that. Big event or small curated gathering?
Small curated gathering.
Agreed. Heels or cheek flats or both?
Both. Really both, yeah.
City energy or coastal calm?
Now, in this era, coastal calm.
Yes. Community builder or quiet observer? Obviously, community builder.
Community builder, yeah.
Well, Marika, this conversation was such a beautiful reminder that community isn't just about gathering people. It's about creating spaces where women feel safe enough to exhale.
Yeah.
What you built through Mysha feels incredibly intentional, elevated, and deeply needed, especially at a time when so many women are craving connection, support, and belonging beneath the surface of our very busy lives. Thank you for reminding us that meaningful relationships still matter and more than ever, and that women don't have to navigate motherhood, ambition, and identity alone. And to everyone listening, sometimes the most powerful thing we could do is find the people who remind us that we're not alone. Thank you for reminding me that I'm not alone.
You're not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for creating this space.
Of course. And